In this video, I'll show you why lunges cause knee pain and what to adjust to keep training. Let's get right into it. So the first thing is load tolerance. So knee pain often shows up when the load exceeds our tolerance level for that moment. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't load it heavy. It just means you might have been loading it too heavy for too long. So a simple solution is to take a deload week. A deload week can mean lowering the overall percentage that you're using of your max lift, or it could just mean that you take one set off of the total amount of sets that you're doing for that down week. So that way you give your body some time to recover from that overall load. But one strategy to keep training that movement pattern is to just increase the amount of reps that you're doing. So if you're doing 5 reps of, let's just say, back rack reverse lunges, now you're going to be doing 10 reps or even 8 reps and less sets too. So instead of 4 sets of 5 reps per leg for the lunges, you do 2 sets of 8 reps or 2 sets of 10 reps for the lunges, and that's going to force you to lower your overall load just by having to increase the overall repetitions. And that can give the knee some time to build back up and recover, so then you can gradually go back into those heavier loads and lift more weight from there. So the second point is limited ankle mobility. So this is a common contributor because a lot of people deal with tight ankles, so their movement is modified. So instead of the knee tracking directly in over the toes or over the second toe, the knee may track inward or the knee may track excessively outward, or there just may be a lot of movement during that lunge pattern. And when you do that over and over again with heavier loads on your back or in your hands or however you're loading your lunges, that can cause knee irritation. So a simple solution that I like to use is to think about doing reverse lunges instead. In this movement, you can keep the knee or the shin in a more vertical position, and you having your shin in a more vertical position reduces the reliance on ankle mobility for the lunge at the moment while you're working on your mobility in your ankles. You can also decide to do, instead of just doing reverse lunges, in your lunges in general, you can do the lunge but keep your shin vertical. So again, that works around that limited ankle mobility while you're improving your ankle mobility. So the third point is lateral hip control. So we're talking about the muscles on the lateral side of the hip. So we're talking about the glute medius, the glute minimus, and then also the glute max does contribute to some of that lateral force there too. But these muscles help control the alignment of the knee and force production as you're going through that motion. So if those muscles aren't timed correctly or kicking in when they should, then that knee's gonna start to move a little bit more than it should, and it's gonna try to create forces that should be coming from the hip. And this is just gonna increase the stress load on the knee as you perform your lunges. So a simple solution is to increase the time under tension in which you're doing your lunges. So instead of just going straight to your lunge and you're just going down with like a 2-second, maybe you take a 4-second lower into that lunge and then a 2-second out of that lunge. So this is going to allow those lateral hip muscles to kick in more effectively and give them more time to do their job, because quicker movements don't allow for them to coordinate like they should if they haven't been trained to coordinate like they should. So taking some time to slow down that tempo in your lunges is a great way to help improve that lateral hip control and coordination. So the fourth point is frequency. So doing lunge patterns or even lunge and squat based patterns too often reduces the recovery capacity of the knee or the muscles around the knee. And when that recovery capacity is lower, then that knee joint is going to take a lot more stress and load on it. So the simple solution would be to take away one training day that you're performing these lunge and squat patterns and perform more hip dominant patterns. Another thing is just to reduce the overall volume in your workouts of those patterns. So if you have a squat and a lunge pattern in one workout, maybe you only do the lunge pattern for that workout and maybe you only do the squat pattern for your next workout. So just reducing the overall volume of your lunges can help reduce knee pain or improve the recovery capacity of the muscles around the knee to help support that knee joint and move you forward in your lunges without pain. And the fifth and final point is movement complexity. For some people, the lunge pattern is a dynamic and higher level movement. So potentially you may need to take a step back and perform a movement that doesn't require this dynamic motion. So one of my solutions here, I usually would start off some of my clients with split squats instead of going into lunges. This keeps your feet placed on the ground so that way you have more control instead of worrying about catching yourself and going into that lunge at the same time. So just that small adjustment of your feet already being planted in place, and then you can control the movement better, would allow you to actually go through that movement without any irritation, without any stress, extra stress on that knee, because the knee is not going through a motion or taking on forces that it's not prepared for. So pain doesn't mean that you have to actually stop training. It may just mean that you need to make a few adjustments, and that can get rid of your pain in general. And if you want help applying this to your training, you can book a free call by going to the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.